All yours, gents.
Fantastic. Mike, are you ready?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Glass Half Sports. It is February 10th today.
Yep.
2022.
I did change the date for you.
I am trying to get better at the dates. Glad for you all to be back with us and glad to be in all of your homes listening to what I think is one of the best sports shows on the internet, but I might be biased because I host it. I'm one half of your hosting duties, Nick Huffman. And before we get started today,
Before he even introduces me,
before I even introduce Mike, that's how important this is. There has been a place over the last couple of weeks where if I ever wanted to get a slice of pizza, like at any time of day, I've been traveling up to Northeast to go to Arturo's Pizza on University up here, and they got a Super Bowl deal going on. Buy one, get one half off. They do salads, they do subs, they do sandwiches, they do pizza. They even got a little bit of dessert for everybody. So when you're throwing your Super Bowl party this weekend, if you're in the Northeast area, they do delivery after 5, or you can walk in, meet James, and pick it up during the day. Feel free to head on over there. Great pizza. Mike's going to go ahead and try this and then give us a little pizza review. El Presidente style here. Mike's a pizza.
Tell the truth,
savant.
Mike. Tell the truth.
it's really good.
Little thin crust.
It's thin crust, but it's not too crunchy. Really savory and sweet. I put pineapple on my pizza. Very good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend if you're in the Northeast area.
Absolutely. They do a lot of different flavors, a lot of different styles, folks. So head on over to Arturo's. The phone number, if you want to make a call in, is going to be 612-886-1624, or you can visit them online at www.arturospizzaminiapolis.com for that buy one, get one half off Super Bowl weekend pizza deal.
I'm going to save that for later.
Yeah, me too. Go ahead and slide it down the table there so we don't lose it.
And tell them Glass Half Sports sent you, for God's sake.
See, growth in some areas. First, I had to give you something else to heckle me on there, Gabe. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah. Even if they don't order pizza, just call them and say you saw it on Glass Half Sports. Please.
Absolutely, right? Supporting small business all over the world, or at least starting here in Minnesota. Joined by Mike Mensing, my co-host. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I get to be introduced. That pizza was really good.
It's very good.
Tastes like lingering. It's really good.
I'm
doing really well. You brought me pizza.
See, I put Mike in the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I'm telling you that right now.
It's true. Can't fail with
So,
that.
what do we got this week, Mike?
Big show. We're gonna do our flip or flop segment continued.
That's right. 4 more head coaches.
Yep. So I covered about half of them last week. Cover the second half this week.
Yep.
UFC 271 is upcoming. We have a segment called NFL in Sin City.
Oh, yeah. It's been a little bit of a rough run in Vegas so far.
Wild Wolf Watch as per usual. The lockout update for the MLB, and then Super by the Numbers Bowl.
That's right. I got a couple of bets and odds that we wanted to go over. Gonna give Gabe back there his roses. I know he likes the betting segments and stuff like that, especially on big games. So I thought we'd run through some of the numbers for the Super Bowl. As always, if you are watching the show live here, feel free to comment in. We will get to your comments during the show. If I don't get to them or Mike doesn't get to them live, we will be responding to all of them in the comments. And share with a friend if you like the content. What platforms can they find us on, Mike?
As always, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, and YouTube. Where can we be found post-show if you miss us live?
Channel MCN6. That is cable. This is a big-time television show. Fridays at 6 and Saturdays at... Is it 1 or 3?
2.
There we go. Somewhere in between. And without further ado, we can kind of jump right into the show here with our flip or flop segment. We started this last week talking about the head coaches in their new positions. There was quite a few of them this year, and whether or not this new head coach was going to be able to turn around or flip the culture for some of these teams, or if it was going to be a straight out flop and they'll be back in this situation in the next 3 to 4 years. So, Mike, we can start with Mike McDaniels in the Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to say flop.
Okay. Reasons why?
As much as I kind of liked him as a candidate for the Vikings job, I think the Vikings have a veteran presence that could almost help a young head coach in that aspect.
Right.
I just don't see that in Miami. They're in rebuild. They're extremely young. They don't have an identity.
Yep.
I don't think Mike McDaniels' identity that he's going to be bringing from San Francisco with that run-heavy offense and high-efficiency passing game is going to be successful in Miami. I give him maybe 1-2 years in Miami.
Okay. I have heard that he's kind of a peculiar personality as well. Some of the things that I've been reading on Twitter. Where does that come from?
Where does this peculiar personality come from?
What is it about him? I only hear that. I haven't read into it. What traits are people worried about it?
I mean, he is, I would say, an offensive mastermind or an offensive prodigy at his young age. And typically when you're that skilled in an area, you're typically not super sociable, but I don't know what is.
No, I was just curious. I had heard it and not looked into it.
I've seen some like YouTube videos of where the reporter is like Mike Jones free press and he's like Mike Jones and like
nice.
he's an out there guy a little bit.
Oh, he's a personality.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm going to have to go. I mean, if you consider the direction that the Dolphins have been in over the last couple of years, I'll say flip, but I think it's just a minor improvement over what they may have had in the past, right? If, Mike McDaniels is truly going to get along with the GM and the owner and they're going to be able to be on the same page, they'll probably find some version of success. They're not in a super strong division. Like they were in the playoff race this year. I would expect them to be in the playoff race next year, but that's a lot to say considering they're losing a head coach. They've lost a head coach.
So you see him as being stronger than Brian Flores?
Yeah. For the situation that they have, the division that they're in, situations dictate.
I disagree. I guess that's why we
have
different
things. Yeah. That would be why I said yes and you said no.
Yep.
There we go. So let us know what you guys think on Mike McDaniels. The next one would be Dennis Allen, kind of a surprise hire in New Orleans. First of all, Eric Bieniemy needs a job somewhere at some point. I know people are going to yell at me for what he's going through, but he was one of the finalists for this job, and Dennis Allen gets hired over him. I don't understand that.
I mean, does this job even matter?
No. It's still Sean Payton's job.
Sean Payton will be back in a year. I just watched Home Team last night.
Was it good?
Yeah. It was pretty solid. It was okay. As much as, Kevin James playing Sean Payton can be.
And you hate Sean Payton, so that's speaking pretty highly.
It was okay, but this job doesn't matter. Sean Payton will be back in a year, so I don't understand what all the controversy was surrounding the Saints head coaching job.
Yeah,
it's an interim job.
I mean, it is as of right now.
Something?
No, but as of right now, it's a 2-year job on the job interview or whatever the case could be. It could be next year that he comes back, right? Like so, it's on the job training, so to speak, but. Do you think Dennis Allen will be able to get them better than they were this year under Sean Payton?
No.
I don't either. Flop.
Sean Payton is a great head coach as much as I dislike him. And
that roster was already...
maybe if Dennis Allen had 3 to 4 years, he could turn it around in his eye,
right?
And what he wanted it to look like. But to come in and compete and basically be a better coach than arguably a Hall of Famer in Sean Payton, no. Definitely not.
It feels to me like Sean Payton really was driving like that old school muscle car. Like it still had all of its horses, but the rest of the car is so old it's just held together with like duct tape and paper clips and bubble gum. Like I don't think it's going to get much better than him being able to do that with that roster. And they're still in a ton of salary cap trouble. And now they probably don't have Alvin Kamara. So flop. All right, we agreed on one.
Moving on to Doug Peterson in Jacksonville.
I actually like this. He does bring a championship pedigree. I think he brings in the pedigree that they thought that they were going to get with old Chop House, Urban Meyer. He's good with quarterbacks. That'll be good for Trevor Lawrence. When he was there and they had Jay Ajayi and some of those guys in the backfield, that'll be good for the split, the two-headed monster that they have now with James Robinson and Travis Etienne. They didn't draft really well at receiver while he was in Philadelphia, but they were able to go out onto the free agent market with the offense that he provides and bring in some talent.
Jeffrey.
Right. So I believe that this is a big move in the right direction for the Jaguars. The question is, what version of Doug Peterson are we going to get? Right. Like if things don't go his way, and I know he's guilty until proven innocent because he did get fired from Philadelphia. He's got to kind of reprove that he can be the true front to back leader of a franchise and not cause problems with the front office as well. But I think he definitely flips the culture around in Jacksonville.
So I had an opinion, and then I saw this picture, and just first impression, nobody looks happy to be there.
Has Doug Peterson ever looked happy to be anywhere?
He was happy to be in Minneapolis.
Stop it. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. Maybe this is a lower level job in the NFL. Correct?
Yeah.
So maybe this is Doug Peterson, basically, like you said, just putting something on paper of his resume, like, hey, I can come in and just
To get
control the
another
team.
opportunity, possibly.
I can turn the team around and go 10-7 and compete and do all these things.
I mean,
but do you ever see Doug Peterson winning a Lombardi in Jacksonville?
you know,
Because I'm going to say definitely not.
you don't know that though. I mean, and that's where it's so weird because if you look at the upside of the guys that they do have, like if they retain Miles Jack, if Trevor Lawrence turns into who he's supposed to be, if Etienne is the way that he was in college, if James Robinson continues to get better, that wide receiving core is going to improve. The offensive line is going to have more time together. You put Doug Peterson in the mix, a solid system, and give it a couple of years where they draft well. I mean, the Colts are going to be in cap purgatory. The Texans don't have any draft picks,
so all have a Merry Christmas.
I think they're. I definitely don't think you can't immediately eliminate the opportunity. Flip.
All right, moving on. Lovie Smith in Houston.
This was probably the oddest one out of all of them. I didn't understand.
I'm so torn because I actually really like Lovie Smith as a coach, and like what I know about him as a person. And he's willingly running into a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I get this odd feeling that it's just puppeteering.
Do you think he just wants back in the NFL
I get this really odd feeling that this is something because there's a lot of Patriots in the front office now of that team, and Lovie Smith is a holdover until they can get the guy that they want. This is just a guy that when they say jump, he's going to say how high because was his name in any conversations, period, over the last 5 years for other head coaching jobs? No.
Sorry, I was reading the Notoriety Sports Network comment. Former Vikings assistant head coach and co-defensive coordinator Andre Patterson is being hired as the defensive line coach for the New York Giants.
Well, say goodbye to Daniil Hunter, and you'll probably see him in New York.
That's Pat Shurmur, Kyle Rudolph, Andre Patterson.
It's a Viking recovery system up there in New York. But what? Yeah, this hire just didn't make any sense to me. Other opportunities are out there, right? Do you think Lovie Smith, if they thought that they were ever going to, and I know we're way past this, I feel like at this point, but Deshaun Watson was upset that he didn't get to be a part of the coach hiring situation. You fired that guy a year in, and then to double down, you make another decision without his approval. You know what I mean? Like there were opportunities to mend the fences here, and they just decided not to do it. This is a flop and a half.
Yeah.
He'll be done in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, you're just going to see a lot of clips of Lovie Smith on the sideline not saying anything because he's a calmer coach.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans are just going to get ran up on. It's not going to be good. The organization from top to bottom, other than Lovie Smith, is bad.
Man, Houston has been a clown show.
What was it, like 4 years ago
they were up 20,
Watt,
but they were
Watson.
up 24 points on the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's I don't understand this one. And I really don't even know what to say. The Houston has been a clown show and a dumpster fire ever since they, were kind of introduced dating back to some of their expansion team whatevers and just defeated. The whole franchise looks that way. It needs new ownership. It probably needs to go to a new city.
Yeah, something drastic needs to happen for sure. I do think we had a couple comments that should probably get to.
Lovie Smith looks psychologically disturbed, says Notoriety Sports.
Just a good beard, man.
Yeah,
the beard.
That's very true. That is a Warriors beard.
Oh, I'm telling you, I love me some Lovie Smith. And he was like, when I started to like Lovie Smith as a coach, he was a coach of a team in the division of the team that I really liked.
Yeah.
I just like what he does. It's all disciplined.
Dylan, what's that, Dylan? Do the Vikings have a head coach? Yes. Yes, Chris, they do. It is Kevin O'Connell.
Well, technically, it's not.
Not till after the Super Bowl. But yes, we do have one selected.
How did we flip roles with that? But whatever.
Lovie's
beard. Gotta respect Lovie's beard, though. That's what I'm saying.
Very true. Very true. All right. Well, you got anything else on any of these head coaching hires there, Mikey?
Nope. I don't think. I I don't really see too many of them working out, to be honest, as a whole. I'd say 5 of 8 or 6 of 8 are not going to be there for longer than 2 years.
When we have a refund next, because I know we're going to have him on here in the next couple of weeks, remind me, one of the questions I want to ask him is does it always seem the same teams, general manager change, owner change, whatever, are always the ones in the coaching carousel? Remind me of that, because I want to get his opinion on it. Statistics-oriented guy.
Okay.
So let us know what you guys think on any of the head coaching hires for our flip or flop segment. Are they going to be able to turn the culture around, or are these teams just milling around in the mud in the background, pretty much? So we can move on now to Mike's favorite and most watched sport, UFC. There is a big pay-per-view that has been a tad bit underpubbed lately, UFC 271, with the headliner of Robert Whittaker versus stylebender Israel Adesanya. And then, in my opinion, the only other real interesting fight is a guy that I know Mike likes, and Tai Tuivasa taking on Derek Lewis, knockout power versus knockout power. So just wanted to walk through these two fights in case anybody wanted to tune in and give them a look. Starting with the Israel Adesanya fight that's going to headline the card. This is a rematch, and the last time that these two fought, they both went into deep water. This wasn't one of those first ones where like it ended by decision. It ended by a knockout. They don't like each other. It's very like this is one of those fights that even like casual fans get up for. What's your opinion on what's going to happen or unfold on Saturday?
I'm going to take Adesanya.
It's so hard to see him ever losing fights. He is the most creative striker in UFC history. He has really
it seems like when he's put on the spot, he knows what to do.
He's never out of position,
even though it's something he's never done before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how do you train for that?
Like when he fought Jan, he still could have won that fight. Like they're fighting in a smaller octagon, you give him a tad bit more space and some things go the other way, you're looking at a champ. Like he has, to me, put himself in that pantheon of greats like GSP, Kamaru Usman, Conor when he was at his best, like some of the true like absolute goats of the sport, because he's lapping his division now. He's going through guys that he's already embarrassed inside the top 5, and Robert Whittaker's the last one standing. So what happens after, if he wins another one? Is it a weight change? Does he try to go up again? He just signed a massive deal too. So you got to believe that as much as unfair as it may be, champion's advantage, if it does go to the scorecards, UFC is going to want to keep the belt on him.
Probably.
Robert Whittaker has changed. There's been
Whittaker will probably have to knock him out.
Yeah, and it would have, and I'm going to say it would have to be in one of the first 3 rounds if it's going to happen, because Izzy's style, his ability to find a hole like early in a fight and then just go back to that well and create that same opening for himself to be successful doesn't bode well for a longer fight for Robert. But they say he's going to come out with a different game plan and try to take Izzy down and do some wrestling and get back to his basics. But when's the last time anybody that was in Izzy's weight class was able to put him on the canvas? Nobody.
If anyone can do it, it is Robert Whittaker, though. And his cardio is actually great. Like, there's actually very little, this could happen at any time. I think Izzy's going to win, too, but you got to remember he's coming off a loss, right?
No, he beat...
he beat...
Vittori.
But that was someone he's beat already. Like, I don't know.
Whittaker's somebody he's beat. And the one thing that's impressed me in all of his rematches is they're not nearly as competitive as the first time that he fought these guys. You can tell that he's progressed a ton. To me, Izzy's got a better chance of taking him out in 2 rounds now than he did the last time that they fought, because these guys get hit by him once, and then I feel like they get back into the cage, and because he's such a creative striker, there's too much mental processing going on. Where can he hit me instead of just fighting? And then he picks these guys to shreds.
I'm a huge Izzy guy. I think he's as good as you're saying, pretty much. But I do think that this is not, this is a dangerous fight for him.
Oh, I'm excited to watch it.
So good. Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. So,
you going to buy it?
Yes, I will buy it.
Then we'll come over and watch it.
All right, let's do it. Oh, yeah, because I got my own place. Feel free to come on over and watch the fights, Mike.
Okay.
Sweet. He's going to stay up for the UFC. That's what we like to hear. Then the other fight that we have on the card that pertains to my excitement level, and the reason I'll be tuning in is Tai Tuivasa against Derek Lewis, the most knockouts in UFC history versus the guy that will probably have a shot at dethroning him for that record at some point. Banger versus banger. Who do you got?
I just have a vision of a large man drinking out of a shoe at the end of the night.
Same. I like Derek Lewis. I was very disappointed in his ability towards the top of the card to close the deal, like against Ciryl Gane or against Francis Ngannou, against like true talent.
Right.
And Tai Tuivasa seems to have that. The way that he can throw hands, he wouldn't be getting this opportunity. So Derek Lewis has kind of been the gatekeeper to who's going to be in the actual title picture instead of a title contender. And I think Tai Tuivasa is a contender. So I would have to side with him for this fight. Now, like the erupt button or the mass destruction button definitely exists for Derek Lewis, but after some of these tough losses,
this fight will more than likely end in a knockout.
No. I'd love to know what the odds are on this fight going the distance.
Right.
Like that would be something very interesting. Like you just look at this beast, the way he trains. I don't know.
That's so annoying. Sorry.
No, it's good. Hard to pick against him. Just hard to pick against him. Well, what's Gabe's opinion on this one here?
I think that Derek Lewis is now just fighting for money. I think he knows, very like I'm worried about his motivation here, and I think Tuivasa is dangerous. I mean, it's really a well-picked fight because he is on his way up. Oh my goodness, he's on his way up, and Tai. Oh, I guess this is the same video. I thought it was a commercial because it's a white guy. But yeah. No, I mean, I think this is a good fight. Of course, if it doesn't end in a knockout, I would love to see the gambling odds of this going to a decision.
Yeah, that would be. They've got to be super high. Right. But the other part that I wanted to ask you about this is because Derek Lewis is ranked at number 3 and Tuivasa is at 11. He gets this win. He convincingly knocks out the number 3 ranked fighter. How many guys does he then leapfrog? Or are we going to get this dumb thing where Dana holds him back or only moves him up to like 7? And he's got to do another fight to prove himself. Like, if you're going to go in there and knock out what is considered by UFC rankings the 3rd best fighter in the heavyweight division, guess what? His next fight should then be against Ciryl Gane.
I mean, isn't he technically the 4th best fighter? Because there's champion 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
No, the champion is 1. Champion is 1. And then 2.
Sure?
Yeah, because it's Francis, Ciryl, Lewis.
All right.
In that order.
I see him jumping to if he wins, I see him jumping to 6 and Lewis drops to 7 just to say that they switched, but I don't see Tuivasa
he should crack the top 5.
I don't see that. No way.
You know what? And here's what's interesting. There's been
from outside the top 10 to the top 5. I don't.
Because what? Stipe's at 4, right?
That's what I was going to say. I thought you guys were forgetting about Stipe.
Stipe's at 4. So who's at 5? John Jones?
Well, so this is the big thing, though, that Dana's screwing up, or not necessarily screwing up, I guess. He's just picking money fights. These rankings don't even matter anyway. So it matters how Tuivasa wins. If it's a spectacular knockout. John Jones is such a draw. They want that fight so bad. He'll fight.
I think that
match up anyone.
So here's the thing. With everybody saying that John Jones shouldn't immediately go to the top of the heavyweight division, I definitely agree.
So the heavyweight division right now is Francis Ngannou is champion.
Yep.
Number 1 is Ciryl Gane.
Yeah.
Gane.
Oh, right? I got you. Okay.
2 is Stipe. 3 is Lewis. 4 is Curtis Blades. 5 is Volkov. 6 is Rosenstruik.
Okay. But I mean, you got to throw John Jones in there. But what I was trying to say is, I was listening to Chael Sonnen the other day, and I was kind of thinking about this, the way he talks about the way these fights usually break down or how things go. If he gets this win, I think John Jones' best decision would be to pick up a fight against Tai Tuivasa. Like, he's got the strength and the power, and he's a bomber like the guys at the top of that division, but he probably doesn't have the same work rate or the same grappling. And regardless of how long you've been off, you can't come. We've seen it with guys like Conor. You can't take 2, 3, 4, 5 years off and then step back into the cage and expect to compete for a championship. You're going to get walked over. The UFC is a different beast. I know John Jones is an all-time great, but he's never fought guys at 240, 250.
He does in training, though. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, they kind of know who he. I mean, it is different, but I think it is a gauge, and I think it's really calculated. Like, I mean, I think he can do it. His brothers are enormous. They say he walks around at that weight, you know, like 240.
He walks around at 243.
Yeah, so it's just, you know, I mean, and also to circle back to Tuivasa, let's not forget also, because it's fun. He's such a crowd favorite, right?
Right.
But I don't think anyone believes in their heart that he's got skill sets to actually match up with once you get to those elite guys like, you know, Cyril,
right.
You know, even Ngannou now wrestling.
Yeah, which is that was crazy.
And this guy seems so one-dimensional.
I don't see Tuivasa being top 3 probably, but I don't know.
I don't even think top 5. Like, I mean, and I think people know that in their heart, and it's just one of those things.
So
like,
you take,
he's
do
a
you
fun
take Lewis
sideshow.
then, Gabe?
No. So to me, it almost just doesn't matter. This is almost a motivation match. If Tuivasa has a spectacular thing, because Derek Lewis comes in flat and he knocks him out, he'll do a shoey or whatever it is, where he drinks beer out of the shoe. Fans will love it. He'll step up and he'll get his ass waxed by someone who's fully, you know, well-rounded, and that'll sort of be the end of him.
See,
or he'll
I
be a
actually
Derek Lewis
100%
gatekeeper.
agree with that.
That's fair.
To be honest,
That's fair.
Gabe,
Gatekeeper.
100% agree.
I agree.
You're damn right.
All right. Well, that's what we got on UFC 271. Unless there's another fight on there.
There's something called Love Triangle.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, I did want to talk
actually,
about this.
I think we should pub another podcast really quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Speaking of Love Triangle,
Yeah,
are you going to be on another podcast, Nick?
I am. We're not going to talk about that on this show.
I think we should.
If you want the information, go
Nick.
to my Instagram.
No, I think we need to give another podcast a little pub.
Yeah. I will
Let's
be
embarrass
on,
Nick a tiny bit here.
Hey, I'm a businessman. I'm a busy guy. I will be on the Date Night podcast. It will be live at First Draft next Tuesday. It's kind of like a blind date situation.
From what I understand, it's almost like a Bachelor situation.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Pretty close.
And you're the Bachelor?
I'm like one of the most eligible ones in the Twin Cities right now.
Look at this. We have our very own
Wow.
Bachelor.
Good for you, man. That's
The
great.
Date Night podcast?
Date Night podcast.
Date Night podcast.
Tuesday.
You
like
could date
6
him
or 7.
if you wanted. All right. Moving
Yeah,
on.
Get at us. Get at us at Glass Half Sports if you'd like to spend the night with Nick.
These ridiculous guys right here. But no, I did want to talk about this love triangle, Mike, since that's what you wanted to do.
Which Nick will also find himself in about a month. All right. Moving on.
So there's a lot of smoke behind the Diaz, Poirier, and McGregor thing. McGregor's obviously got a decision to make, could make a decision on who he wants to fight while they wait on the Oliveira Gaethje matchup. But with Conor not being sure that he's going to be ready, and Nate only having one fight left, and Dustin really doesn't know if he's going to be able to stay in the title picture at that weight class because there's a lot of rumblings about going up. Would it make more sense, and would it be as attractive financially? I want Gabe's opinion on this too, to see Diaz versus Poirier at that increased weight class. Diaz's last fight being, instead of at like what do they fight now? 158, 168 or whatever?
I think it's
Or
158.
158. Have them move up one weight class and fight each other while if Conor doesn't make a decision, would you get as much excitement out of a Diaz Poirier fight as you would get out of McGregor Diaz or McGregor Poirier 4?
Let Gabe answer this first.
Okay.
Sorry, fellas. I was formatting back here, so I don't even know what you're talking about.
So-
Setting up the next
No
thing.
worries.
No, you're good. I'll have Mike answer, and maybe you can glean some from it as he.
All right. So I look at Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, and Dustin Poirier
Yeah.
as 3 guys in a park who just took turns fighting each other. And then people like started watching them and started paying good money to watch them. And then a ton of money to watch them. And then everybody left the park and they're still fighting each other.
I mean, it's still a draw.
That's what this is to me.
I am so locked in with you on this. Like I think they are misjudging the public's appetite for this, like majorly. Like I don't think anyone really cares about Conor and Diaz 3, for instance.
Or like McGregor, Poirier 4. Like, who
God,
the hell
Truly
cares at
don't
this
want to
point?
see it.
Yeah.
Like actually,
I
don't.
will pay you not to.
That's
not
why.
to-
I really do think, like, if I want to see anything right now, I want to see Poirier Diaz. They're both bangers. They're both going to stand in there and slug. They both got iron chins. Like neither one of them is going to get absolutely folded up. You know what I mean?
What do you want to see that for?
Because I think it puts to bed a lot of the it puts to bed a lot of conversations about that weight class and the guys that are in it. Like you've seen Connor Nate, it's a split. You've seen Connor Poirier, and I'm going to call it a split, but a lot of people in the records would tell you that it's in Poirier's favor, which I can't argue with that because he's got the record that shows it, right? But we haven't seen those two fight. So I think it would make sense, especially if you wanted to stack these one on top of each other, let those two fight each other, have Connor fight somebody else later this summer. And if Connor wins, Connor takes on the winner of that matchup because then you've got time to build it back. Both of the guys, if they obtain wins, would still be inside the top 5. And it'll give you time to figure out who's going to be the champion between Oliveira or Gaethje and possibly be able to squeeze in a title defense for that champion.
Also, I'd like to note that anyone who's excited to see Connor, who actually likes Connor, should not be excited because he is going to get waxed and he is finished. Did you guys see the video of him talking about how he was drunk as hell saying he's going to stop drinking?
No.
Like that dude is disturbed. As someone who has been around the block with some chemicals, it looks so bad, dude. It is awful.
Oh,
and it's like you can tell he's just.
I mean, to be honest, right when he dropped to the ground and like his face after his injury, I knew it was over. Yeah. Right then, like after that happened, I knew his career was done.
We'll see.
He's been quitting in fights for a long time now.
Right.
And he wasn't built like that in the beginning, and he wasn't in those positions. But I feel like Khabib, sort of ended his career. Yeah, and he is too rich. He can't stop living his life. He's deluded. I love his skill set. Man, was electric.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him do well. It's over. And actually, I can't even say that. He sucks as a person.
Damn.
Oh, is that controversial?
I mean, to me, I'm a huge Connor fan.
Well, I like his fights, but are you a big fan of punching 50-year-old men at the bar when you're an MMA fighter or attacking DJs or attacking women and all this? I know you love attacking women.
Ouch.
Well,
Date night podcast.
That's how we met.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not follow up with that.
Okay. I'd like to walk that back for the audience.
No, I'm a big Connor fan. I just want to see him succeed. I think he still has it. I just think he's been put in some tough situations. I think there are guys out there that always have your number, and Poirier's that guy for him. I think if you put him in there with Diaz, he knows what he's going to get out of Diaz. It turns into a slugfest. You get the same.
This has the same appeal to me as Space Jam 2.
Great comparison.
Great comparison.
I mean, it's kind of cool to see, the same thing played out and a new take on it, but like 12% of people are actually interested.
Also, quick side note. Diaz and Poirier would be the worst promoted fight.
Yes.
Like their press conference would suck.
I agree. Well, Diaz might get up for it. We'll see.
He only says stuff if people say stuff to him, though.
Right. Poirier's not that kind of guy.
Actually, good guy, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have on UFC 271. If we missed anything or if there are any other fights that we should be on the lookout for, feel free to comment in during the show or we will get back to you on social media afterwards. Mike, what do we got next?
Sin City Problem.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this.
He's rubbing his forehead
because it's been overly tumultuous, if that's the correct word to use here. The NFL showed up in Vegas and started lighting things on fire. Like we've had 4 instances now, and I don't have that side of the run sheet.
I just put those 4 things together that they all have. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So 4 incidences, major incidences in 1 year. Mike, why don't you read them off for us?
Oh, thanks. I'll be.
I don't have that side of the run sheet.
Fun killer. All right. Henry Ruggs kills a woman.
Yep. Doing 110. Character issues, then released after. Yeah, right. He's got character issues prior to that too, and they just continue to roll with him. What was next?
Errant arrested on gun and drug charge.
Yeah, the cornerback Arnett that they had.
Sorry.
Yep. Gets arrested on
typo.
Gun and drug charges less than 2 weeks after. Then they do the Gruden thing, and then what?
Nate Hobbs, 110-mile-an-hour reckless driving.
And Alvin Kamara punches somebody in the face
Battery arrest at the Pro Bowl.
At the Pro Bowl. The NFL is one of these leagues where I feel like it's always protecting itself from instances like this, and that's why they've been so good for so long. Like, there are definitely things that have happened off the field that people don't agree with. Like, Ray Rice's career was ended, right? Like, Adrian Peterson lost a year out of his prime. Zeke Elliott's been suspended on things like this. But because the franchise is usually able to then correct those players, like when Dallas handed out a supervisor to Des Bryant, you know, because he had a curfew and they had to get him back or whatever the case may be. They're always protecting themselves from any repeat offenses. Should we at any point be worried that the NFL is going to pull from Vegas if this continues to be something that's widely publicized?
I don't think it has anything to do with the city of Las Vegas. You could see these exact same things happen in LA, in New York.
But they don't. But they don't. Not like this.
I mean, how do you not know that though? Like, Arnett arrested on gun and drug charges. Like,
I've seen other players have been arrested on gun and drug charges. That's not new to the NFL.
Josh Gordon was driving down the street in a like camo Lambo, smoking a joint, waving a gun around in Cleveland.
And I understand
has nothing to do with Las
I understand
Vegas.
that. But how many other instances like that have there been in Cleveland?
I don't know.
How far apart are those instances? These are 5 major instances in 1 year.
So you think it has what's different about Las Vegas versus Los Angeles then?
Because the
York?
Temptations in Vegas
Just because it's
are
Vegas,
very, very different.
Las Vegas is actually quite family friendly currently. Like,
Because nobody's there.
Yeah, there you go. So Alvin Kamara battery arrest at Pro Bowl.
But that's what I'm like. I just think that because players go out there, there's a stigma to Vegas. When you're in Vegas, you want to do Vegas things, right? And those things for NFL players
So it's the
are
players
always going to
applying a
leave.
stigma to the city.
I think it's, dude, when I go to Vegas, I do shit I would never do because I'm in Vegas. I'm a regular guy.
That sounds to me like an excuse to not have control.
My point exactly.
Okay, so what do you want? So because players don't have control in your city, we're going to take your football team away.
It's what if it begins to impact the bottom dollar and the image of the NFL, I believe that they would. There's a reason why Cap couldn't get back in. I'm sorry. They didn't want the negative pub. There's a reason why Ray Rice couldn't get back in because it was the
I'm telling
end
you right now, the
of a
odds
leash.
of Las Vegas losing their football team due to player infractions is nil.
If we have anything like this next year before the midway point of the season, this conversation will be completely different.
Sure.
If
I
next
doubt it. I highly doubt it. It could happen 2-3 more times. Nothing will be said about a football team moving because of player infractions in the city.
I don't know.
Nothing.
I don't know.
This is a weird topic.
It's a lot. It's a lot in
I
1
mean,
year.
it is a lot. It is an interesting coincidence. I will give you that.
There's no such thing as coincidence, Mike.
I mean, I think it's reasonable to say you can get in more trouble in Vegas than Indy. That is true. But I'm just saying you also have the capability of getting just as in trouble in other NFL franchise cities. Tampa.
But
I think
are they?
I think Nick is right and super wrong. That
There you
it's
go.
like, yes, you can get in more trouble there, but there's no way in hell that they're going to lose. There's so many millions of dollars at stake. What just happened there?
Oh, are we down?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
But that camera is. I got to come look at it.
I
No.
definitely just kicked a cord under the table. I apologize. I
That
actually pulled
makes a lot of sense.
I actually pulled my feet back. I didn't kick forward.
Nice.
So that is my fault.
High production quality. But no, it was
sorry,
just
folks.
something I wanted to touch on because at some point, enough is enough, and the NFL has been known to do exactly that, which is protect its own investment, right?
Sorry, dude. Yeah, I mean, the NFL is always looking out for the NFL, for sure. I understand your take there. I get it.
I just
But
want to
the
know.
odds of of a city losing an NFL franchise. That is going to be like last step. They're gonna maybe say, hey, if you get infractions in Vegas versus Minneapolis, the penalties are double as far as game suspensions or something like that. Like there would be steps
Yeah.
prior to them removing the Raiders from Las Vegas and their brand new stadium.
How long would this
that
have
they're
to be an
playing-
issue before you think the league should go, okay, this is no longer a good thing, not just for the city of Vegas and its players, but football in general? How long would this track record have to persist?
the current track record would have to persist probably a decade.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Before the NFL removed a team.
Yeah. I'm not
Yes.
saying force new ownership or
I mean,
whatever.
here, I'll put it to you this way. What if during the summer months, for some unknown reason, starting the summer of 22,
Yep.
NFL players, like NFL franchise players, let's even include Tom Brady and Peyton Manning into this, love to go to cabins in northern Minnesota and just get hammered drunk.
Yeah.
And then they ride their four-wheelers around and tear up people's property and beat people up who yell at them. And it just becomes an entirely huge issue. 10, 12 players arrested.
Yep.
You ever think the NFL is going to go, wow, we should really take the Vikings away from Minnesota? This is becoming a problem.
I think that's a whack. I think that's a bad compare. You can compare fruits, oranges to apples, but
I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I don't think the odds of the NFL removing the Raiders from Vegas, like, that's not going to happen.
no, that's fine. I just wanted to address it because it's been hefty, and it seems to all be happening in one
like
place.
I said, I'll give you that. It has been a coincidence. It's probably not what the NFL wanted out of Vegas in their first couple of years there.
This is a funny comment. This guy who wrote about
I live in Indy. There's too many shootings here to get in trouble for anything else. I don't see players getting in trouble for shootings though in Indy. That's kind of my point.
Well, hopefully
Marvin Harrison.
People doing
Stop it.
Hopefully the people doing the shooting in Indy have the same accuracy as Carson Wentz and everybody's safe.
High five. I like that joke. All right. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. How long should this track record persist before the NFL steps in Vegas? And what do you think some of the measures that should be taken are to maybe get some of this player craziness under control in that city? Mike, what do we got next?
Just really quick, back to that. I think it's player accountability, by the way. It has nothing to do with the city. Next, we're going to do our weekly Wild Wolf Watch.
That's right.
Check in on our winter sports teams here in Minnesota. If this is your first time watching the show, we are a Minnesota-based podcast.
That's right.
We do love to talk about national news and such, but we got to go back to our roots as well. So,
deservedly so. These teams do not deserve to be glossed over.
Definitely not. So let's go with the Wild first.
Yeah, not much going on with the Wild. Did they play their game against Winnipeg?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and I believe we took a loss there 3-2. But after that, it was the All-Star break. So there wasn't a whole lot going on for the NHL. The Wild just continued to get healthier and stronger, and I'm sure the break is something that they are going to need. We're going to run into that stretch here where we're going to be playing 45 games or whatever in 82 days. So it's going to be a pretty back-to-back schedule here throughout the remainder of the spring for Minnesota. But good to see Creel out on the ice. Good to see, him giving some props to Ovechkin in the shootout challenge. Did you watch?
This one is nuts, though.
I was going to say, did you watch any of the highlights from the NHL All-Star weekend?
I watched some of the highlights.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I did go back and watch a few highlights. This one was insane.
Wow. It is nuts, right? What these guys can do. I have a hard time staying up on skates.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I am a hell of a skater as long as I don't have to turn or stop.
There we go. That's called downhill running.
So the Wild did unfortunately fall to Winnipeg on Tuesday. 2-0 was that final score.
Okay.
But we are back in action on Saturday against the Hurricanes.
Yep.
Then Monday against the Red Wings. And then Wednesday we get a shot at the Jets again. So with 3 games before we see you guys again.
I'd like to see him take all 3 of them. I think the Canes are a good team, but I think it's definitely especially coming off a break, a team that we can beat. And then my only worry would maybe just be getting that game back from Winnipeg. Detroit is not the Detroit of old. It's definitely not Hockey Town, USA anymore, or whatever they wanted to call it when they were running red hot for so many years up there in Detroit. So just grab the 2 at home, steal the 1 on the road, and next week, hopefully we can just come to you with more good news of how we've continued to close the gap in the Central Division.
Yeah, I don't really see Carolina or Detroit coming into Minnesota and beating us at home.
Nope.
And then, like you said, it would just be nice to get some revenge. I mean, it's a week and a day removed from going up to Winnipeg and taking a 2-0 loss, so it would be nice to
It's a rarity.
Get a little bit of revenge.
It's a rarity to see Minnesota put up no points.
Yeah. This our offense this year is
Potent.
I believe the best that the Wild has ever had
I would agree.
as far as goals scored. So, to see them shut up was a little surprising, but I don't see that happening again on the 16th.
And it's just sad. It ended Creel's 12-game point streak. I was kind of hoping he was going to continue to rack that up.
Well, hey, just like with our other winter sports teams, sometimes streaks come to an end, so you can start the better one.
There we go.
Start another one, make it even longer.
So, yeah. Is there anything else on the Minnesota Wild there, Mikey?
Nope. I want to hear what you guys think about the Wild. Let us know your thoughts on the next 3 games or even the season moving forward and where you think that they'll end up in the Central Division seeding-wise.
Yeah, by the end of the year. We'll get heavier into hockey and covering some of the other teams as we get a little bit closer to Lord Stanley's Cup's playoff.
I got a quick question for you guys.
I have a quick answer for you.
What do you think is do you think anyone has a better All-Star weekend than hockey? I think hockey's the most fun, like, the skills competitions and stuff like that.
If you exclude the actual game, I believe the NFL does. I like all the skills position races, dodgeball stuff that they do, but the game is just trash.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of true for all of them actually. But yeah.
It's all about incentivized All-Star games. The MLB does the All-Star game right.
And I think that's true too. The MLB, there's nothing in sports like the MLB's home run derby.
No, and then they have futures games and stuff. Like, it can't be held against the sport that the sport is boring to watch because their all-star festivities and what they do
are great.
Is really well done.
This is a late question, but I just love it.
What was crazier, Vegas this past year or the Vikings Love Boat?
Well, people died in Vegas, so I'm going to safely say Vegas.
And people were probably born due to the Vikings Love Boat. So
yeah. We were addition,
well,
they were
that's
subtraction.
Funny. Well, that's great. What's the that might be the funniest comment this whole time. Yeah, but what was more shocking to hear?
Between Vegas and the Vikings?
The Vikings Love Boat, because we're an upper middle class, do no wrong city. So to hear our athletes out there doing
and wasn't it on
outrageous,
Minnetonka as well? Yeah, so that was a little surprising.
It was surprising. And I was very young to be understanding what some of the things that were going on the Love Boat were when it happened. So, yeah.
So if you don't know what the Love Boat is,
look it up.
You're probably too young to know what the Love Boat is. And then back to our other winter sports team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they are still the Timberwolves, 29-26. Our streak did come to an end. Unfortunately, we lost to the Kings. What was this? Just us running out of steam? You think a little bit?
Yeah, a back-to-back against the same team, especially when they're going to be the ones at home, is always going to be tough, right? Because even if you take the first one like we did, and they come out even with the same intensity, the fans that return for the second night are just going to be that much more aggravated from the loss that they saw less than 24 hours. So it would increase the home field or home court advantage, I believe. Sacramento's not anybody that I'm worried about long term, but the Wolves are playing well, man. And trade rumors, trades have started to pop and move things around in the NBA already. Going to be interested to see exactly where the Timberwolves fall on the way they feel about this current roster.
Are there any names out there from the trade rumors that you've heard that maybe have piqued your interest?
Marcus Smart. We kind of talked about that one last week. Very interested in that. I do think the ability, especially after watching the way that, and against the win against Sacramento, that like Mcdaniels played, or in the way that Vandy's been playing, even our backup point guard at this point, what's his name? Tyler McLaughlin, something like that. The bald guy with the beard.
Jordan McLaughlin.
He's got, I think it was 24-1 ratio assists to turnover this year. Like we have the best bench in the NBA.
Our bench, I think, put up 72 on Tuesday night.
Yeah. And Cat's playing responsible. So, I think it is just adding that one piece. I still, like I said, want us to very heftily avoid the Ben Simmons thing. I know that gets tossed around here a lot. I know there's a lot of people in the Twin Cities, Paul Allen, that would love to see Ben Simmons here in Minnesota. Don't do it. He's not a shooter. The way that he has acted in Philadelphia, I think, is very evident of what you would receive getting him to Minnesota. Same thing as we knew who Jimmy Butler was when we got him coming from Chicago, and he was who he was when he was here, and that's what led to his exit. So don't make the same mistake twice. Other than that, not a whole lot of like big names out there that I've seen that, I'd be like, yeah, let's pull the trigger on that one. How about you?
Honestly, the only one that I've really seen is the Marcus Smart one. There's been one other one that I saw that I was like, right away. Best case scenario, in my opinion, for this youthful team is to just stay pat.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the worst decision. And knowing that, only make the best decision, right? If you know you can't get any worse because of the way the team is formatted and the way you're playing, don't make it worse by making a trade you don't need to. Only do it if you're guaranteed to be the winner in that deal,
Right.
and it improves your team's current standing.
Yeah,
Which those trades are hard to find. But
I agree. And I mean, the reason I think that is, dang it, I just had the standings up. Well, you're right. The reason I think that is the Wolves sitting right now are 7 in the West. So they're playing the 7 through 10 game
playoff team.
playoff
eventually.
team. And right now the 10 seed is the Pelicans. So do we get by the Pelicans
Yes.
with one game at home?
Yeah.
To advance. So I think we do too. That gives us the 7 seed, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we're sitting 7 seed playing the 2 seed Warriors first round knockout this year.
And we've proven we can beat them.
We have proven we can beat them, but first round exit this year, very young team, come back next year. Like that's the way you build, in my opinion. That's why I don't want them to make a trade that brings it all down.
Right.
Process. Trust the process.
Very interested in the games that we have coming up, especially this one against Chicago on the 11th. I will be tuned in for that. Me and you have spoken. It's probably the only other NBA team that we've really talked about, through the preseason. They kept the hype through the beginning part of the year, and they continue to just kind of be on, I don't want to say cruise control,
Number
but
3 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 34-21.
they're playing lights out. I think defensively, they're probably one of the most structurally sound teams in the league. And when Levine and DeRozan are on the floor together, they are going to pressure your ability to play good help defense. It will be on the road in Chicago. So it's going to be a playoff atmosphere style game and I know I use that phrase a lot, but there are opportunities. I think me and you have agreed on this throughout the season where you get to see what you're made out of. And that one on the 11th will be a good dictation of what we're capable of. Then Indy coming off of a trade, I believe. Moved some pieces around, so we should be able to get a win there as that team settles in. And then we have Charlotte at home. I will actually probably be trying to go to that game because who doesn't want to see LaMelo Ball against Anthony Edwards? And then Toronto at home on the 16th as well. Mike, what do you see for the 4 games that we have coming up before we see the folks again?
I really want us to just make sure that we split.
Okay.
I think on the road at Chicago,
Tough.
So I want to make the distinction though. A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it would have been a guaranteed loss.
Yes.
It's no longer the case at all this year.
Right.
But I do think we lose to Chicago on what is that, Friday evening?
Yep.
It would be really good for us to come back and win in Indiana.
I believe we will. Like I said, with that trade, it always takes a new team time to kind of catch tread.
So it's Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield to Indiana, and Domantas Sabonis leaves Sacramento.
That was the name I would have liked to have seen on the Wolves, by the way, was Buddy Hield.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he would have brought an interesting Anthony Edwards-esque take as well on the other wing. But I do think we win in Indiana on Sunday. The Charlotte matchup is, like you said, very intriguing because of LaMelo Ball, and then Toronto is always a well-coached and disciplined team.
I think they're just
split one of the two. Just make sure you walk out with one of the two. You go 2-2, you're sitting at,
stay on pace.
You're sitting on 31-28.
Stay on pace.
That's not bad at all.
Nope.
3 games above 500. You're just fine. The schedule does ease up here going into March a little bit as well, and we're off to the races. Being a playoff team without
a playing game,
a Jimmy Buckets or someone like that,
which is good.
With our young stars elevating the team, which is exciting.
Absolutely. So let us know what you guys think is upcoming for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I definitely have them at a 2-2 split as well. I think the key for them right now is just continue to win the games that you're supposed to win and stay competitive in the ones where the talent is considered to be a tad bit above you. So if we missed anything or you're excited if there's any players around the trade deadline you'd like to see the Timberwolves go after, let us know that as well. Maybe we'll do a segment next week on your guys' entries for potential options and whether Mike or I would take them or leave them. Looking forward to hearing from you. What do we got next?
Moving on, Nick really wants to talk about the MLB Lockout update.
Yeah, because there's an interesting piece, and I think Gabe, I believe will probably fire Gabe up. some meetings have started to move, right? There was some meetings starting to happen. We talked about it. Things had started to pick up when we addressed this last time. A lot of this, again, tying back to the player pool for arbitration eligible players because they think they're being underpaid. This is kind of how it breaks down. The real Bo Sheck on Twitter kind of laid this out perfectly. There's an article I was reading that brought this to my attention, and here's how it's pretty much gone. MLB, here's $5. MLBPA, we want 20. Here's 5. We want 18. MLBPA is not cooperating on the lockout. It's pretty much what it was, right? The players or the owners came out or said, the PA doesn't want to work with us. So then everything halts. 2 months later, here's $5. Well, MLBPA says, I can do 16. Here's $5. Okay, 14. We need a mediator to fix this, is what the owners come out and say, which, in my opinion, is ridiculous. It has gotten to the point now to where the owners who already have a talking head in the room are requesting a mediator to negotiate with the players that make sure the money goes into the pockets of the owners in the first place. Fix it. They're going to ruin baseball. This is so aggravating. AAA players and stuff are playing Florida ball right now. MLB guys are stuck on their fucking couches.
I'm just starting to become a fan of the Korean League that we were investigating a couple weeks ago.
Oh, my God. You're going to have to. Gabe, do you see this as a massive step backwards for them to come out and be like, hey, we need a mediator?
No, I think that's just part of the negotiation and how they do things, I mean, I think it sucks, that it's happening. But, and then this is an article that just came out. This broke 3 hours ago.
Okay, what's this?
And it says, I'm just truly pulling it up right now, but basically it says MLB owners planning to make a counteroffer Saturday, nearly 2 weeks after the first proposal. So, I think that this is gamesmanship. This is what they do. It's an enormous stakes thing. What the heck is this? I hate these commercials. Anyway, so no, I think it's gamesmanship. That's all. I mean, this is truly what they do.
The owners are going to have to give, right? Like, is that? Can we all agree they're going to have to give at some point? They're going to have to give some slack.
I mean, they got to give probably a little something, like a tiny bit, but I don't think that they're in too bad of a shape. I mean, we talked about this the other day, or when we went deep on it.
Yep.
And man, it just felt like I don't know. It felt like the owners kind of have the hammer in this case, and I don't believe the Players Association is going to stand up too hard for that arbitration thing.
So why is it just because, so just because the owners have the hammer, they have decided that they need to make the players the nails? Why not, if you have the hammer, try to find a different way to build something instead of punishing the people that make sure they line your pockets with fan tickets and merchandise and $14 beer sales and all this other stuff? That's my only point in this. Why not? The NFL does it right, in my opinion. The guys that deserve to get paid, get paid. Like it or not, Kirk Cousins is a favorite of a lot of Minnesota fans. Guys like Antonio Brown move merch. That's why they get other opportunities, right? Like, these guys are getting paid what they're worth. The players in the MLB are not.
I just think it's so, but by that same token, the NFL has the worst contract.
Yeah,
They're
I was going to say, you just said the
stuff.
NFL is doing it right.
They're
right.
guaranteeing money
it's
now.
Ever been said.
And
they're the biggest league on the planet.
That's true. They also have more players than any league on the planet.
And it's, I mean, they're not guaranteed contracts. That's the whole thing. It's very hard to be, and I, of course, want to be on the players' side. This feels gross siding with the owners at all. I just feel like they're in a situation like they do so well. They have guaranteed contracts. Like, they don't have incentive to go hard.
Right.
Now, here's a quote by Garrett Cole, or a tweet saying that he was at the PA meeting in Arizona, the Players Association meeting. It was exciting to see solidarity this high. We had 100 plus players show up and are united to protect the integrity of the game. I believe that guy makes, did he have a $300 million contract?
Yeah, something like that. He was making something outrageous.
But I think this all comes down to how hard the players are actually going to band together. And usually what the MLBPA does is they sort of crap on the little guys and protect the big guys. And I don't think the big guys have enough incentive to fight too hard. I think they'll fight to get something, but any incremental increase. And that's why the owners did not blink.
This is
You
just
know what I mean?
This is just like with anything else, dude. When you have a big establishment and the little guy is fighting against it, the big establishment is going to lose in the end, but they're just going
Right.
to give a tiny little inch.
Interesting thought.
You're
that
going to
just,
see arbitration go to like 5 years.
interesting thought that just crossed my mind. Inside the MLBPA, and I don't know this for sure, right? Like you said that they're going to protect the big guys because those are the guys that fill seats. Well, the little guys are the ones that eventually become the big guys that fill seats that they want to protect. Does the MLBPA need to have if they're going to keep any form of arbitration, they need to have like an arbitration or an arbitration representative, almost somebody who has the interest of these small players in mind until they're out of arbitration. There should be one appointed by the league, almost, I feel like.
You think someone appointed by the league to make sure the player
Or
doesn't
by the
get screwed over by the
or
league
by the
is gonna
MLBPA,
not
somebody that
screw
they
them
can
over?
agree on. Somebody that they can agree on between the MLBPA and the league.
I think this tweet actually says everything in a way. This comment from a listener.
What's up?
That nobody wins during these lockouts. Normal people don't sympathize with millionaires fighting over money, and
Well,
that's
100%
what
agree.
we're
And that's the
doing.
thing is, it's millionaires fighting with billionaires over.
Yeah, I'm sure Magic Johnson's
Hey,
not losing any
I just
sleep if the
know
Dodgers
that the
don't play
LG
this year.
Twins play the Kia Tigers in the Korean Baseball Organization on April 2nd. Let's go Twins. Look at that. I got my team back.
There we go.
I like where your head's at.
Shout out to Cade Povich and all the guys out of the draft this last year, too, who are down in Florida working their butts off, getting ready for the season if we do actually get one this year. So
Yeah.
I know that they were playing some ball last night. So
from Florida all the way to the West Coast to California to the Super Bowl.
California. Probably going to be the best halftime show for me.
I don't know, man. Miss Pac-Man is up there for me.
Oh, really? I mean,
It's a classic.
all right. Fair enough.
You can't show Super Bowl. I'm just kidding. I don't want people thinking Miss Pac-Man was my favorite halftime show.
But yeah, the Super Bowl is this weekend, Mikey. All the other radio shows are down at Radio Row in Hollywood this week.
Yeah, we're flying out here in what, an hour and a half?
Yep, that's right. Me and Mike
Sorry.
had that's not true. But if you would like us to actually be able to make that announcement at some point, please share the show as we continue to grow it. Maybe one day we'll go to Radio Row and you guys can come out and see us. But the Super Bowl is on Sunday. Really interesting matchup. I think it's like the first time in 19 years that that the Super Bowl hasn't been represented by like one of four teams and or players.
Yeah, what is it? It's Tom Brady,
Peyton Manning, the Patriots, or
the Steelers?
yeah, it was possibly the Steelers.
No, it was something like that.
Something like that.
Something
But
like that.
so we're getting a fresh crop in there. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, and the Bungles against the Los Angeles star-studded Rams. I wanted to go through some of this by the numbers. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I gave you some over-unders, so we're going to try to paint a picture based on your statistical picks for the Super Bowl. So, Mike, what is our first over-under there?
Length of longest drive, over or under 82.5 yards.
Oh, and so you just got to pretty much, I would want to say it's going to be Cincinnati if it's going to be anybody, and it's going to be the under, but probably not by much. 82 yards is a pretty decent chunk in order to get into get a touchdown or in scoring position.
I mean, that's starting the drive on like 17.5 and scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say. If there is a team who gets a drive that's longer than 82.5 yards and you don't score a touchdown, you will lose this game.
Yep. Nope. That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. So my pick would be the Bengals. I think they have the type of sustainable offense to where I feel like the Rams are going to be taking a lot of big shots. They're not going to be a chip away at it offense.
So you're choosing a team and then over under?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Bengals will get over an 82.5 yard drive?
Yes.
So that's not only saying that the Bengals offense is very effective, but that's also saying that the Rams are going to pin them inside the 17.
Correct.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm going to say that a drive that is 83 yards will not happen. That's what I'm going to say.
Takes the under. Nice.
No chance.
Fair enough. All right, what do we got next?
Rams total sacks.
This is going to be an interesting one. I think this
plus
dictates
or minus 3.5
Sacks. Yeah.
Sacks.
This can be an interesting one. I think it dictates a lot of the game. This is pretty much, okay, how many times can Aaron Donald and Von Miller get to Joe Burrow? I'm going to take the over. I think it's going to be hard for the Bengals to protect him this game. They are going to be coming at him. Best way to disrupt him is to get him off of his spots. And Aaron Donald's going to be fired up. They're playing at home. That pass rush is going to be on point.
You have a smartphone, right?
Yep.
You have like Uber or something like that on there?
Yeah.
I'm just worried about you driving home.
Okay.
Thinking like this.
Oh, you don't think there's going to be 4 sacks in this game?
Oh, I think it's not a question of how much they get to him. It's a question of how much they get to him and get him on the ground. Because the most electrifying player in this game, do not get it mixed up.
If you're about to say Joe Burrow,
I said it 3 weeks ago.
he is the most
The next
electric.
Tom Brady.
He
makes things happen. He wins games.
okay.
Just, dude,
Listen,
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. The reason they are in the Super Bowl is not due to their great offensive line.
I don't disagree with you.
It's not due to the 4 to 5 seconds that Joe Burrow has to throw.
I don't disagree with that either.
It's because Joe Burrow is a playmaker and makes things happen. He, pretty much alone, drives that team down the field.
I'm here to tell you he's not the most electric player on the field. You can't share the football field with Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Odell Beckham.
How did Aaron Donald
Cooper
look when he
Kupp.
played in the Super Bowl a couple years ago?
Like you can.
How did Aaron Donald look?
That's not my point. Joe Burrow is not
so he
electric.
doesn't show up for big games.
Okay, now I will also say this. Tom Brady wasn't electric. The closest food comparison or comparison in general that I would make to Tom Brady is water. He's in everything and an absolutely essential piece in being there. Without him,
And you don't think Joe Burrow is?
Yeah, but that's not water and electricity are two different things.
Water like conducts electricity. I'm pretty sure.
Hey guys, check out the comments. We had breaking news.
Ooh, breaking news. Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers are finalizing trades, sending James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and draft picks. Sources tell The Athletic.
The Sixers just got a lot worse.
And the Nets got a lot better.
A lot better.
Because guess what? Now they have a point guard. Seth Curry is a shooter.
Yeah, and I just don't think that Ben Simmons needs to be the guy as
He
much
just
as he
needs to
was
play.
in Philly.
You know what has Brooklyn's biggest issue been since getting KD? Defense. What is the one thing that Ben Simmons does better than most point guards? Plays defense.
Yep. All right.
Great pick.
Yeah. Thanks for letting us know.
Appreciate
That
it.
was awesome.
Yeah. A little breaking news.
There's Super Bowl Sunday is a different game than any other game in the NFL.
Yeah, you're right.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you agree that there's some sort of universe magic that goes into typically winning a Super Bowl?
Yep.
Like a David Tyree catch or a Julian Edelman catch or not crossing the goal line in 99 if you're the Titans.
Yep.
Like there's always something weird, or wide right if you're the Bills.
Gotcha.
There's typically something that happens throughout the game that decides that game.
Yeah.
The it factor, that X factor, that guy who's going to provide that moment is number 9. Is number 1?
Jamar Chase.
Oh, I think it's going to be Joe Burrow throwing the ball to him.
Fair enough.
And that's why I don't see the Rams total sacks being above 3.5.
Oh, you're taking the under?
I'm taking the under.
You're insane. We have to move on because that's going to give me a headache. What do we got next?
Jamar Chase receiving yards plus or minus 78.5.
Over by quite a bit, I believe, too. I think he actually finds a way.
Right, I can let you drive home by yourself now.
Yeah. I believe that there's actually going to be a good chance that we look at Jalen Ramsey as a reason that the Rams would lose if they lose. He's going to shadow him pretty much all day, I'd be willing to bet. Jamar's he's different level good, man. Like, I love Jay Jetta, but completeness of receiver, Jamar Chase reminds me a ton of Steve Smith Sr. His ability to get the ball anywhere and win is amazing.
Well, that and what he's able to do after he catches the ball.
Anywhere and then win.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them motion him, make Jalen run with him pre-snap, get him the ball quickly when Jalen's on the run. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a long day for Jalen Ramsey, but I'm gonna say Burrow has 275, 3 and 1, and his 1 goes to number 5.
Okay.
So I'll say that the Bengals kind of win the war, but Jalen wins a couple battles.
That's fair. I'll take that. Does Jalen get a pick? That was another one.
So Jalen does get a pick, but Jamar Chase gets probably 3 digits.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So it's going to be kind of like a who really won it thing because they're both going to have good days.
Yep. No, I obviously taking the over. Stars will shine in big moments. We got another one, or is there that kind of the end of the
Super Bowl MVP and prediction?
Yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on who the Super Bowl MVP was going to be. I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess, and you're going to say Jesse Bates. No,
yeah,
Joe Burrow.
Actually, Jesse Bates is going to make a pick 6 with 4 minutes. Here's the thing. Everybody and their brother thinks that the Rams are more talented, and thinks that the Rams are going to win this game. They're at home in LA. They're even at home. I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Okay.
There's something about this team, the fact that they shouldn't even be there.
Okay.
I get a lot of Giants versus Patriots 07 vibes out of this.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to go Cincinnati 24, Los Angeles 21. Evan McPherson, the rookie kicker,
walks it off again. Huh?
Walks it off again after Joe Burrow makes an amazing play to put them in field goal range.
That's fair.
That's my prediction.
That's fair. Do you believe in the Joe Gronick time traveler thing? Like all the predictions that he's made through The Simpsons on things that will happen in real life?
Oh, you think the Simpsons thing that you saw this morning is correct and it's 34-31 Bengals?
Yes.
That was actually if you're a Simpsons fan at all, you knew that it was actually the Dolphins and not the Bengals in the episode.
No, I was just curious. But my Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's going to be Odell Beckham Jr. If the Rams win it, I believe it's going to be because Odell catches.
Rams win it, it'll be Stafford.
It'll be 12 catches, 150 some odd yards, and two or three touchdowns. Like, I do believe that Odell Beckham is going to show up in a big way because those safeties are going to have to tilt over to the direction of Cooper Kupp to eliminate that third down weapon that Matt Stafford has, and it's going to open up a lot of things for him. If they win, it will be him. So that would be my pick. Otherwise, I was going to say Joe Burrow, but you already said that. So I have the win or the game as a whole.
You don't have to change your whole answer just because I'm right.
No, I just wanted to give my opinion because I think Odell Beckham's going to have a good game.
More breaking news courtesy of Glass Half Sports.
Jags have hired Press Taylor as the offensive coordinator.
Not a huge story.
Nope, not massive. Do you know who Press Taylor is?
Don't even know who Press Taylor is.
Me either. We'll look into it and get back to it.
I'm just proud that we're breaking news like this.
It's always good. And plus it's that time of year for it. So Gabe's getting some good practice in. Because I'm sure it's not the last time it'll happen during the NFL offseason either. But my score prediction for the Super Bowl: 27-31 Bengals. That would be my pick. I want to say the Rams, but Team of Destiny stuff and for the Bengals. What are you looking at? Hey, focus.
I'm sorry.
Hello. Good morning.
I was looking at who the hell Press Taylor was. He replaced John DeFilippo as the Eagles quarterback coach when he came here.
Why am I not surprised to hear that guy's name tied to Doug Peterson?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So that's who he is.
Yeah. Congratulations to him on the hire. See how it goes. But
I'm impressed.
Stop it. But I think that's all we got, man. Got our Super Bowl predictions in. Where are you going to be watching the game at?
You know, I'm not sure where I'm going to be watching the game, but I can tell you. And this isn't even this is straight me. I think around maybe 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm going to head down to Minneapolis. and pick up some pizza.
Me too. Arturo's.
And then turn around and go back up to the North Metro because that stuff is.
You just want to give me that small box. I'm actually gonna eat a piece.
Smelling up the studio.
I know. I'm gonna eat a piece. I'm gonna eat a piece while you do the outro here because this stuff's irresistibly good, and we have dessert in the lobby as well. But that's all we've got for the show. I'm gonna get started on my my weekend pizza eating for the Super Bowl a little bit early here. If you like the show, share it with a friend. Mike, where can they find us?
Yeah, you guys can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you missed the live show and want to check us out on cable, MCN 6, Saturdays at 1 and Fridays at 7. As always, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you with a Super Bowl recap show and a little bit of an NFL offseason show as well next Thursday.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something to do tonight, Gabe, I promised you a little bit of airtime here. What do you got going on?
Yeah, I'll be doing some stand-up comedy at the Keg, and hold on, I'm just pulling up right here. Hop and Barrel.
Nice.
At Hop and Barrel. So if you want to see some stand-up comedy, I believe it's a cheap show. Put it this way, it's not expensive. I think it's free, but I don't know. He just booked me on it before this. But and also, if you like adult podcasts, my show, which is I don't know, iTunes Top 200 podcast, Profession Confession, is having our sex worker roundup show, which we talked to a lot of the local gals who work in the sex work business, and they're super fun conversations, extremely confessional and adult, and but it's going to be fun. We got a couple of porn actresses, porno queen Jordan Max, and another porno queen, can't remember her name yet.
You want to talk about something you sound like you should be selling tickets for?
Damn right.
Take that show on the road.
We're going to continue to just eat our Arturo's pizza. So you
Nick
guys
will
have
be
a
there.
great rest of your day.
I will be there.
Hopefully we'll see you at Gabe's gig tonight.
Yeah. See you at Gabe's gig or see you next week on Thursday. As always, glad to have you guys. Stay safe, stay warm, take care.